Being able to spend credits in Star Wars Hunters has probably been one of the most difficult challenges to complete in the game so far, simply because the in-game item shop during the first couple of weeks hasn't really had a huge amount of stuff in order to buy, which personally I think needs to change quite quickly, or at least just for Season 2 and beyond. So that is what I'm going to be discussing in today's video, but before I get into that, make sure you are subscribed to the channel with the notification bell turned on. I've got Star Wars Hunters content basically every single day over the next few weeks, so make sure you don't miss out on any of that. But without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into it. So for the first week of Star Wars Hunters launch, there were only 2 items in the store that you could purchase for credits, which was a skin for Aaron Tool and his weapon. So in all fairness, that came to a total of probably around 7,000 or so credits, which definitely takes a little bit of time to earn up to, but if you play the game enough, I imagine it's definitely not impossible. But after that first week, people weren't particularly pleased with the very little amount there was to actually spend credits on, and thankfully in the second week it did actually get better, with 4 items in the shop to be able to purchase, which was a skin for Char, his weapon, a weapon skin for Sprocket, and a victory pose for Imara Vex. So there was definitely a lot more options there, which I personally was very pleased about, and I'm sure many of you guys watching now were probably quite pleased with that as well. But personally, I do think it would be nice to see more things in the item shop available to buy with credits, because that is ultimately the currency that you earn simply by playing the game. Now in all fairness, you can earn crystals by doing that as well via events and other means, but credits are by far the easiest currency to accrue without having to pay anything. So I personally think it would just be really nice to be able to just see more in the store for credits, because at the moment it's a very big portion of crystal skins, which is absolutely fine because the game is obviously free to play and I really want this game to do well, and I personally don't mind spending money on crystals every now and again to buy some stuff, but having an option to see more credit skins would be useful, I think. But in failing that, even if you just go to the hunters and you go to the cosmetics options for your hunter, I think it would be really useful to be able to go into the costume for Aaron Tool, for example, and just see a bunch of skins that you can unlock via credits, because that way they don't have to clog up the store page itself with more cosmetics, and instead you can go directly into the costumes panel and find them, which I personally think is actually a pretty good workaround. But perhaps that would mean that you're spending less time in the shop and there's less incentive to buy crystals, which from a developer perspective I totally understand why they wouldn't then want to do that. But I just think something has to change somewhere. In all fairness, week 2 wasn't too bad with the fact that we did have 4 items in the store, because they totaled something like over 20,000 credits combined, which to anyone who has that from launch onwards, I would be incredibly impressed if you had all of that by now. I personally have just been building up my credits over the last couple of months, so I started launch on probably around 40,000 credits or so. So for me especially, I would very much like to be spending all of those credits, so hopefully they will continue to release at least 4 new items into the store via credits as the season goes on. Week 1 definitely wasn't the strongest. It was a great skin for Aaron, don't get me wrong, but the fact that there were only 2 options isn't necessarily the best. But maybe that's because there wouldn't have been a huge amount of people with a load of credits anyway. But despite that, I did see a lot of complaints in the community. So like I said, week 2 definitely was better, and I think if they kept that up, that wouldn't be too bad. But a way to see even more skins for credits in the shop would be useful, or if not, just in the hunter customization area would be even better for me personally. I spend a lot of time looking at the shop anyway, because there are just so many cool cosmetics that I eventually will want to get. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comments below though. Are you happy with how many options you were able to unlock skins for with credits last week and this week or not? Do you think there should also be another way around it as well, in terms of it being able to see what's available? Let me know in the comments, and of course subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. That is it from me today though. Thank you all very much for watching, and may the force be with you always.